Hey, this is Matthew Robert Payne, and this is a teaching called Count It All Joy. And you can see from the smile on my face that I experience some joy, and I will enjoy bringing this message to you. So you could probably tell the message where it's going to come from. It's going to come from James. James chapter 1, verse 2. It says, "My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into various trials, knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect, complete, lacking nothing." So, I had a difficult childhood. I had a brother that was jealous of me. I had an angry father. At 14 years of age, I was sexually molested on a beach. At 4 different occasions in my life, I was pushed to the point of wanting to kill myself. So I've experienced some pain in my life, and I'm still going through counselling to deal with some of that pain and some of the issues. I've also had tremendous demonic assignments against my life. So that just gives you some context to give some reinforcement into what I'm going to say, to give you some understanding that hey, this guy has suffered and he's had some trials, and he probably is qualified to speak on this subject. So count it all joy that you fall into various trials. Do you go from one trial to the next? Is your life a life where you go from experiencing one hardship and you come out of that hardship and you have another one? Is your life typical like that? And what do you learn from those trials? Do they teach you anything? Do you learn anything? Do you learn to live by the grace of God? Do you learn to rely on God's grace to get you through? When you're pushed beyond your limits with some of these trials, does it push you towards God or away from God? Do you think when you go through trials that God is bringing hardship on you? Do you think that some people have it easier than you, and God isn't being fair with you? What does it do? James says that we're knowing that the testing of your faith produces patience. So it's one thing to say that you have faith. There's another dimension to it, is when it's tested. Children can attend school all year long and faithfully go to a class and attend to studies each day and attend to class each day. But it's not until they're tested at the end of the year or tested at different points during the classroom season that we actually see a result of what they've learned. It's through the testing that we realize what they've been learning. It's through the testing that we prove what is true. And the same is true for your faith. It's the same that's true for yours and my faith. It's through the testing that our faith is proven. And through the testing of our faith, we develop patience. And it says, "But let patience have its perfect work, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking nothing." This isn't a state of perfection where you never sin. some people would look at that word perfect and think that they can never attain that perfection because they still slip up, they still fall, they still sin from time to time. So they can never attain that. But that perfect is more understood as a word meaning complete, and that's what it essentially means. So it means that you may be well formed and properly formed, complete and lacking nothing. So one thing that you might not do when you're going through these various trials is count it all joy. You may not be a person who can really get overjoyed about your trials, but I like to remind people of Romans 8:28, which says, "For we know that all things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to his purpose." We know from Romans 8:28 that everything will work out good and beneficial for a person that's called by God. And so we've got to look at our trials in that light, that they're perfecting us, they're bringing us to something, they're carving in us a character that is beneficial and helpful to our Christian life and beneficial and helpful to other people. So we can count it all joy. I had a trial this morning with someone on Facebook, and I had a trouble this morning, and God even said to me, many people would have not been able to cope with that, but you've done very well, he said to me in my journals this morning. And I quickly got over it, and I've had a wonderful day, and yet not many people would have been able to get over what was said to me early in the day. We've got to persevere. We've got to be able to endure, and we learn our patience and our endurance through the trials we suffer. I read a book on faith one time, and it interviewed a whole lot of famous preachers on the subject of faith. Each of them wrote a chapter, and the first 6 of them in the book, the first 6 people interviewed in the book said without the trials that they had to go through, they would have never developed the faith that they were known to have had. So that really struck me. The first 6 people in the book said the same thing, or essentially the same thing, that their faith wouldn't be as strong without the trials that they'd suffered in their life. And so it's for us that there's a real lesson in our trials. So next time you're going through a trial, try and remember this short teaching, that it's not so much that you've got to be like a sadomasochist and get really excited about going through a real trial. James wasn't saying that. He was saying that look forward to the reward. It says in Hebrews that Jesus looked forward to the joy that was set before him. He looked forward to us being saved in the future, and the joy set before him, he endured the cross. Jesus looked forward to us and the result of what he was going through. So when you're going through the trials, look forward to the result. Look forward to what the trials are working in you, and then you'll be able to have some measure of joy. I pray that I've helped you and encouraged you. I encourage you to comment on this video and post your comment, and you can even go to my ministry and find out more about who I am, and even sow into my ministry if you choose to. God bless you and keep you.